Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today from Scituate, Rhode Island, we have Amanda Grafe with us, and she is a children's author. And wait till you see all the books she's written. We're going to talk about, I think this is the, welcome, Amanda.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And now, is this the Sneaky Mouse is the latest?
No, Sometimes I Dream is the latest.
The latest.
The Sneaky Mouse was the second one I wrote.
Okay, now I Dream. I'm wondering if we have, yes, Sometimes I Dream. Here it is, right? She sent me a boatload of great books, let me tell you. All right, here it is. Sometimes I Dream. This is the most recent?
It's the most recent, yes.
Now, that's a kitty cat, right, in the mouse?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
So it's about a cat and a mouse who dream about things they could be.
Yeah.
And then they realize if they're that thing, then they'll miss out on all the things they could have seen if they're just them. So it's about self-appreciation, but also like still being okay to have those dreams.
And you also illustrated this one.
I did, yes.
I love it when the authors illustrated themselves. When did you write this one? This past year?
This past year, yes.
These are the types of illustrations that I think are the best when the person who does it isn't, some professional, what do you call it, online, that type of thing, and they do it for their own book. It's awesome. When did you start getting interested in writing?
When I was 13, I spent a lot of time on the computer. And my dad came in one day and was like, why don't you just do something else, like write a book?
Yeah.
So I did. And I sent it in to one of the self-publishing companies, and they wrote me back and told me it was better than 75% of the stuff they received. But my spelling was off, which makes sense because I was 13.
Yeah.
So I just figured, hey, I might have a knack for this, and I continued to do it.
Did your teacher, an English teacher, know about this?
No, I don't think they knew about it, but I did do a lot of writing in school, and I did really well in English class.
Did you go on to college after high school?
Yes.
Where'd you go?
I went to Uconn.
Oh, University of Connecticut.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember when I was applying to schools, I think that was listed as one of the ones they suggested to my parents that I apply at. Did you ever have to go, did you apply at other ones too?
I did. I can't quite remember what they are now. I know one of them was Emerson because I was interested in communications.
Well, that's where my parents met.
Oh, really?
They met in English class. Mom was going into stage and acting. Dad was going into broadcasting. And that's how they met in English class.
That's awesome.
Emerson, that's close to Boston, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's in Boston. I'm not sure.
What did you major in at Uconn? Writing?
History.
History.
I didn't really know what to go for at the time. I thought about going for art because I like art. I am an artist as well. But I chose that because I really enjoyed history. But then I actually went on to get a master's in mental health counseling.
So you're also a mental health counselor?
Yes.
Now you're working in that too?
I was. I'm going to start again next month. COVID kind of put things on hold, but
right.
Yeah.
We need that. I've been reading in the newspapers that the mental health situation has become even more pronounced now because of the COVID.
Yeah, definitely. Isolation, it exacerbates symptoms of depression.
Yeah, they need more counselors too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're very much needed. Oh my gosh. Now, here's the Sneaky Mouse. Tell us about the Sneaky Mouse.
So the Sneaky Mouse, those are all oil paintings.
Yeah, you did these
illustrations, yeah. And that's about a mouse who takes things that don't belong to him. Mm-hmm. But then when someone takes those things away from him, he kind of knows what it feels like to have something taken from him. So he goes back and returns most of the items.
It's like your books have a really good message.
I try to, because I worked a lot with children, so I try to have messages that apply to some of the things they're going through at the time.
What do you do with the kids? Would you write with them, or what do you do with the kids?
Well, just when I talk to them or do activities with them, like a lot of the children I worked with had trouble with self-esteem, so that's why Sometimes I Dream was one of the books I chose to write.
Where are you just in Rhode Island, or do you work outside in Massachusetts as a counselor? Will you be?
Well, I was a counselor in Rhode Island, and I did do a little bit actually in this area.
That's great. Yeah. Okay, so the Sneaky Mouse. Look at this, and you did the cover too.
Yes.
And you did the cover for this one also.
Mm-hmm.
self-esteem and self-reliance, social themes, manners, and etiquette. Oh my gosh, you have been, before we go any further, you have been at many different places. I think, we know Chattanooga is one of them, right? You've been there with your books. Which one were you signing for that day? Or were they a bunch?
All of them,
All
actually,
of them?
yes.
And
Except
did
for the bigger foot. But the other 4 I was, yeah.
And when were you there? How did I miss that?
I was there October 16th, I think it was.
Last February?
No, October last month. Yeah.
Usually they send me an update. Maybe that's where I read about you, and then I went online to find you.
Yeah, it could be.
I probably couldn't get there that day, but okay, I know. All right. This one kind of came out of the blue to me. The one, A Hand Through the Bars.
Yes, it's totally different.
Yeah. What? Tell us about this one.
So that one I actually wrote originally when I was 18 years old, and I did have it self-published at the time. When I republished it, I cut out a lot of the old stuff from it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of just, it's totally different. It's poetry, there's comedy in it, there's horror, but the whole book kind of tells one big story.
That first, you wrote all the poems in it, right?
I did, yes.
Welcome to the Asylum. Oh, that is fantastic. I thought at first, is it supposed to be a patient who's in there who's saying this, or a staff person?
It's a staff person.
Because at first I thought it was a patient. That is so good. She's got a lot of poems. Church on the Hill, Thrashes in the Water, A Hand Through the Bars, and this is prison, but then there's this little stuffed rabbit. Now what does that mean? Because the person could get out with the rabbit?
So the rabbit's actually in one of the poems.
Yeah.
The rabbit belongs to a little child, and he's put away in a box, and then he's taken out and given to another child. And he's terrified of going back into a box. And I won't tell you the ending because it's a little scary, but.
And there's an arm, and it's waving like, does it mean a white flag? What is that? Is it?
Mm-hmm. Well, in the end, the person who's trapped is waving for help. Yeah.
This is so. Yep, troubling things are happening at a small town asylum. This is so good. Before we go any further, how can they reach you and get your books?
So you can go to amandagrafe.com and fill out the form, or you can email me at agrafe88@gmail.com. And on my Facebook page, there's a list of all the stores that my books are in.
Now, she gave me a list of the places that have copies of your books, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that you have at least visited or done book signings at all of them?
I've visited all of them, yes.
You visited them.
I did book signings at one.
So she's been up at the Book Lovers Gourmet up in Webster, which we talk about often, and then she's been at Chattanooga, right over in Westboro. Some of these I hadn't even heard of. Barrington Books, Inkfish.
Yep, those are in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of Books on the Square. I've heard of that one. Now, you've gone through Stillwater Press.
Yes.
I know the couple that run that.
Yes,
he's been on the
great.
show.
Yeah.
He's been on the show numerous days. He's great. Did you ever go to the December Roads on the Pawtucket? It used to be like a big authors fair in December. Did you ever go to that when it was there?
I did once, yeah.
Because it's overwhelming.
Yeah, there's so many great authors there.
I know it, and I would go there to meet a lot of the authors. Probably didn't even meet half of them. You're going down there's an author, boom, 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 all together. And I asked one of the authors, I said, how are you feeling about this? Overwhelmed, because in their different genres, just like you said, there's like a class or some sort of lecture thing. You could go into a room and learn about some specialty.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think they had one on different genres. I didn't get a chance to do it myself, but I did hear about it.
You must have met a lot of authors.
A lot of great people, yeah, a lot of talented people.
We've had a lot of authors from Rhode Island on the show, and they're very much aware of Stillwater Press. It's just been terrific. Now, we have another one here. Get this stuff. My Best Ghoul Friend. Now, this was illustrated by Emily Vorosky.
Yeah, she was my best friend.
Pretty cool. What's this book about?
So that one I actually wrote in elementary school.
You wrote that?
Yeah, and I found it in my attic. It was after I ran into someone who said, you should do children's books, and I didn't know where to start. So I found it up there. I was like, this is not bad for someone in elementary school. So I took it to my friend, and she is a graphic designer, and she's like, I'll illustrate it for you.
So was this one of your first?
It was my first,
Because
yes.
it says Learning Rock Press. Yeah, that was in Connecticut.
Yeah.
juvenile fiction, Halloween. So cute. Every artist has their own style. Like when they're illustrating a book, I can tell what's yours and what isn't now. You know, I really can tell. That's terrific. Now, Baby Bunny and the Balloon. This one is illustrated by you. Mm-hmm. What's that one about?
So that one's about a little bunny who's given a balloon and the wind takes it away and his family helps him find it. It's kind of a metaphor of how your family helps to mend your heart and stick by you.
When the wind steals Baby Bunny's heart-shaped balloon, he'll need some help searching for it. But who will help him? And you wrote, no, this is a review from Nancy Ruport, co-author of A View from a Snow Globe, director at St. Luke Grins and Giggles Preschool. When did you write this one?
So that was my second one I wrote. I did it in Rhode Island, but then I published it through a publisher in Connecticut.
This Baby Bunny and the Balloon. What a cute story. You're good at coming up with the different things for the kids. Did your mother used to read to you a lot when you were a kid?
Actually, my dad and I read a lot, yeah.
He was the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to have a parent who's in on that.
Yeah.
It really is. I know that when my son was growing up, first grade, second, they had something called I Can Read. Maybe they still do. And they would ask if a parent was available to come in and could sit out in the hall, and the teacher would send out some of the kids to learn how to read with us. Just they would read me something, and I would check off that, yes, they did. That was really good.
Though my mom did give me The Giving Tree. I don't know if you know the book.
Yeah. Shel Silverstein.
Yeah. It's an amazing book.
And you really liked that
Yeah.
one? Did you ever color in it? It was like, it wasn't colored in.
No, it was line drawings. I didn't color in it, but
You did?
I can see why people would.
Yeah, I always, when I see a book like that, I have this urge to just color it. But that's because I'm an artist too. But it's a good feeling. Mm-hmm. This was done by you. Mm-hmm. Well, when did you write this one?
I want to say 2019. Yeah.
Okay, this was a recent one then.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. Did you have a lot of stuffed animals when you were a kid?
No, when I was little. Yeah.
I've never stopped. Oh, my mother said that at night she and my dad would come to tuck me into bed, but I had all my stuffed animals lined under the bed sheet, everything like this, and they had to take them out so there'd be room for me. But I love stuffed animals.
Yeah.
Well, you saw some at Tadnock, right?
Oh, yeah.
They have a great selection and a wonderful children's
The
section.
whole store is amazing. There's so much there.
Yeah.
Like, I've been there a few times and still haven't seen it all. So,
No,
yeah.
it's great. You were in the front this last time.
In the front, yeah.
And you did, and people really, I'm sure they did. They loved your books.
Yeah, I actually did really well there. Yeah.
That's really good. Now, from Situate to Westboro, a little bit longer than here, right? To here?
Yeah, I think so.
A couple minutes more. Did you come in? Did I send you directions for 146?
146, yeah.
I know. When I used to go to Providence back and forth, that's how we would go.
Mm-hmm.
You end up in Uxbridge, and then you go 122 to Whitensville. Now, we have another one. We've heard of Bigfoot. This is called The Biggerfoot. It's so cool. And you illustrated this one too?
No, that my sister did, actually.
Your sister's talented that way?
Yeah.
Let me see if I get a really cool picture of the Bigfoot. How old is your sister, younger or older?
She's a year younger than I am.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it was just the two of you?
It was the two of us, yes.
Yeah. Very good. When did this one come out? When did you?
So that one was, I think it was the beginning of this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Bigfoot has big feet. Really big feet. When others make fun of his big feet, Bigfoot runs deep into the woods to be alone. There he meets Butterfly, a frog, and a bird. Each of these creatures has something wonderful to share with the world. In the end, Bigfoot realizes he does too. How do they get your books again?
Okay, so you can go to amandagrafe.com or email me at agrafe88@gmail.com.
Amanda, do you have a favorite of these that you've written so far?
I'd have to say the Sneaky Mouse, because I'm a natural oil painter, and that's the medium I chose for that one.
So Sneaky Mouse. And this is the one that you think is your favorite. Mouse just moved into his new house and needs to furnish it. Mouse does this by taking things that do not belong to him. Oh, that sneaky mouse. Will he learn his lesson? Now, what have you had coming over the horizon with more books?
So I'm not quite sure yet. I think I'm going to do some self-help books actually. So
Okay.
kind of change genres. I am working on a mid-grade novel, which is kind of like a fantasy horror.
Oh, what kind of novel?
A mid-grade novel.
Oh,
Yeah, for
okay.
mid-graders.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a fantasy horror type. So
That's popular now. If you go to the
Yeah.
bookstores and you look at the mid-grade or young adults, fantasy is big.
oh yeah.
Really, it wasn't like that when I was growing up. It was, I don't know, it was just different. But now I'm looking at what some of them are reading and I'm like, is there any sense to it? But if you look at the back and read about it or inside the cover, it's cute. They have good themes.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of great ones out there. I think it all started with the Harry Potter,
Yeah.
and I know before that was R.L. Stein. So yeah, those were the horror kind of fantasy.
When you read on your own, what's your favorite to read?
I would say actually nonfiction. I'm a big nonfiction person. That's why I went to school for history, so I like to.
Self-help is coming up, right?
Yes.
Okay, that is so needed.
Mhm.
What would they be like? Would they have animals in them to learn, or would you do it as an adult talking to younger kids?
I don't know if they're going to be for kids or if they'll be for adults. Yeah, I know I have some ideas for self-help for kids, but I think I'm going to, in general, I'm going to aim it towards adults. Yeah.
Well, with your background, right, in counseling,
Mm-hmm.
you're right up your alley, and we need that now. We really, really do. If you were, it's one of the young adults, high school, whatever, watching the show or younger, what would you suggest to them about how to start writing? And they want to, but they're not sure how.
Well, just put that pen to the paper or put the fingers on the keyboard and just, once you get the first word down and just keep going, and you don't have to think anyone's even going to see it. Just get your thoughts on paper. And don't be afraid to do it, because no one's going to be judging it. It's just going to be you and that piece of paper.
Your parents must be so proud.
Yeah, I hope so.
Now, so you're going to go into counseling, and you're going to maybe write books on self-help.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait. When do you think this might happen? Because I love self-help books.
I don't know. See, I'm still kind of running the race.
Yeah.
But I also think that there's a lot of self-help out there from people who are they already made it past the finish line and they're like, come on, hurry up.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when I personally watch that, it's kind of like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. You're all the way over there and I'm here. So I think when I'm going to write my books, it's going to be like I'm going to be running the race with the person that I'm speaking to, rather than being already finished.
Every self-help author, it seems, well, almost every of them, some of them are all alike, but has a different viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And your viewpoint was just as unique as someone else's.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think every viewpoint also connects with somebody out there. And if I can help just one person, then that would be worth it.
Would you focus on any particular mental health issue?
I'm not sure yet. There's a bunch of ideas running through my mind, but I haven't settled on one. I think I am going to do some of the inspirational work to encourage people to follow their dreams, and if they're having troubles starting creatively, to take those steps.
That's a good thing, have it almost be like a coach, and help people really get in touch with what they're feeling, what they're going to do.
Yeah.
You ever thought of that, doing coaching like that?
I could, yeah.
You could.
Yeah.
You really could. We are talking with Amanda Grafe, and she has written, we have a ton of kids' books here. The Sneaky Mouse, we talked about that. Baby Bunny and the Balloon. She has illustrated most of this, too. My Best Ghoul Friend, Halloween. Now, this one is totally different. A Hand Through the Bars. Now, this is poetry about an asylum in a small town. How apropos. And then we have Sometimes a Dream. Also, she illustrated that. And The Bigger Foot. And this was her friend who illustrated that one.
My sister, yeah.
Yeah, oh, your sister,
Yeah.
right, your sister. Now, that's a lot. Now, were you zeroing in on one particular age group? Would you say, 5, 6 years old? What do you think?
Up to 6. I believe in reading to a child as long as you can, so yeah.
It's
up to
important.
6.
You grew up, your dad was the one who read with you, right?
Mhm.
What did he used to like to read?
I remember the first book was Charlotte's Web.
Charlotte's Web with the pig, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm sure we read other ones before that, but the first one I really was learning how to read on my own was Charlotte's Web. So.
You were growing up you're a millennial, and I noticed that a lot of the books when my child was growing up were, I remember, Captain Underpants. Do you remember that one?
I do, yeah.
I had no problem with it, but evidently, once in a while, there would be a school, the parents, oh no, we can't have that here.
Oh, really?
What? I told my son, sure, you know. You can.
I never read it personally, but it was out there, yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of the popular ones. Now, have you appeared recently anywhere besides Tattanuk in this area?
No, I've done a lot of, I had to go everywhere by foot to get my books in all the stores that they are, so I've done a lot of traveling in that way
Good.
and met a lot of awesome people and been in a lot of awesome stores.
So you're open to traveling
Oh, absolutely.
throughout New England?
Mm-hmm.
Now, she gave me, as I've said before, this is tons of bookstores that she has. Have you appeared at all of them, or do they have your books?
They have my books. I did call ahead of time, but I would always call just to make sure, and I'm sure they could order them for you.
Did you connect with the ones that have had you present, be there in person? Or how did they find you, or was it vice versa?
So I looked them up, and I made cold calls, and I sent emails, and I did follow-ups, and I just worked really hard, and a lot of them are really accepting, so I appreciate that.
We've had a couple other children's authors on the show, and I'm a publicist for authors, and I have many times said, well, in the listings that I'm going to be sending you every month, places to connect with, they'll say, well, why a senior center? Why are you sending me there? Because they have grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
They think, oh, no, I have to go to a bookstore. No, it has to be just for children. No. Take them to the senior centers
Mm-hmm.
and other places where people, you have to have a big imagination. But
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My books are in Cold Brook Cafe, which
Yeah.
is a small cafe in Scituate,
Yeah.
and they've been really awesome. And I just wanted to mention that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Now, that's in Scituate,
Mhm.
Cold Brook Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that some of the cafes are having authors come in. They're there for coffee and tea or whatever, but they want to have authors there.
Mm-hmm. Well, coffee and books kind of go together, I feel.
Yeah.
Good
I know they're
combination.
doing that up in Worcester, too. I know some of the ones up there. You've been out to Taunton
Mm-hmm.
and Mashpee. Isn't that on the Cape?
Yep.
Of course, Webster, Lexington, Hanover. You've been over in Holliston.
Mm-hmm.
Aesop's Fable. They're not all just children's books. They're a myriad, right?
Yeah, it's a mixture of all kinds of books.
Oh, because you're going to fit right in because with your different talents and then your self-help books coming through.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Rhode Island, she's been to Barrington Books. I was looking for a place to live down there, and I don't remember seeing it. What an interesting name in Warren, Rhode Island. Inkfish Books.
Mhm.
What is that?
Well, that was the first bookstore that I took on my books.
They were,
Yeah.
and did they take everybody?
Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask. I
Have
can't
to ask them,
speak
yeah.
for her.
Maybe
but-
online I could.
Yeah.
Savoy Bookshop and Cafe in Westerly, Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
Books on the Square in Providence. I've heard of that one for sure. She gave a marvelous list. The Waterfire Store.
Yeah. For Providence Water Fire. It's Providence. Mhm.
Okay. And Coldbrook Cafe in Scituate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in Connecticut, Breakwater Books, Books on the Common. Okay, Breakwater Books are in Guilford. Books on the Common are in Ridgefield. Bank Square Books in Mystic. Tunk City.
Tongue City Revival, yeah. It's a little co-op shop.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Now in Vermont, Bear Pond Books in Stowe, Boxcar and Caboose, St. Johnsbury. I used to live in North Conway. White Birch Books.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a new store up there?
I think it's been there a while, but I'm not sure how long.
I don't remember it at all. But that doesn't mean anything. I wasn't really into it when I was there. This was back in the 80s, 70s. Tulips in Portsmouth.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cute name.
Really great store.
Is that
Yeah.
children or everybody?
It's kind of like a mixture of crafts and art and books.
Country Bookseller in Wolfboro.
Mm-hmm.
Water Street Books in Exeter. Is there anything that I have researched it, up in Plymouth, up near the White Mountains more, you think, in New Hampshire?
I'm not sure. I know I had a whole list and I did a lot of calling, but because of COVID, I was doing it during COVID, like a lot of stores weren't accepting stuff, so.
It's been tough.
Mhm.
A lot of my authors will say, well, what am I going to do? We've got COVID. I said, take all your contacts, connect with them, emailing, phoning, whatever it's going
Mhm.
to take with you, so that they have you on record. And so by the time this thing lifts, as it's beginning to, the COVID, you can slide right in. You're going to be
Yeah.
either not the first or one of the first who gets up there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really cool. Amanda, again, how can they reach your wonderful books?
So you can go to amandagrafe.com or email me at agrafe88@gmail.com.
Now, again, before we close, the bigger foot. Sometimes I dream. I love your illustrations.
Thank you.
I like that type of thing. A hand through the bars. My best ghoul friend. Baby bunny and the balloon. That's so cute. And the sticky mouse. Are you going to leave some downstairs at our dedicated office?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, so you can also come on downstairs at the Upton Library and pick up and borrow. That's another great way to be exhibited. People to get to know you.
Yeah.
Yeah, now the next time, hopefully, that I see you, there might be a self-help book.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
How long does it take you to write a book?
It depends. Sometimes a couple months, sometimes like a year. It really depends on the process. So.
Well, you're very talented.
Thank you so
Keep
much.
them coming. We'll see you next time I'll be my guest.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems.